a very good day to you and welcome to Kenya's most comprehensive political analysis show. Remember, this is the platform where you get to know everything that is taking place in this country. And of course, we're always having here Professor Herman Manyora, who keeps us up to date with detailed information on the same. My name is Evans Okinyi. Such a pleasure to have you on board. Welcome to this episode of the Candy Talk. Prof, how are you?
Fine.
We are here and I would like us to revisit Ruto's most recent working tour. He was in the central Kenya. Right now, I wonder whether you would comfortably say that the central region is William Ruto's political bedrock. Did he succeed in climbing the mountain and establishing, or rather stamping his authority therein?
But the president, Ruto is the president of Kenya. Every part of this country is his. Yeah. I thought you were asking whether I'm happy with the 2 minute days on the ground in Mount Kenya.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
That's
but
the bit I don't like.
First of all, answer my question, because a while back we saw that the political landscape in Central was a little bit different. And it was being contested by both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza side. The other side, of course, having the president, former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Then, of course, a number of MPs who were then allied, including our recent deputy president, was therein. Do you see that as per the victory?
Nothing much has changed. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Much,
whether anything has changed according to
Not much has changed. There may be a little disillusionment, but nothing has happened to tilt people. To move them away from Ruto. I think I'll be lying if I said that. Not much has happened. There is dissatisfaction, there is disillusionment. People are not happy. Like the rest of the Kenyans, they are also feeling the pinch of the cost of living. They are also seeing the promises have been abandoned. But they are seeing all those things like everybody is seeing. But they have not been persuaded enough to move. What normally happens when people are in that state? Something must happen. Or a big move from somebody must. So if a leader from Mount Kenya today came and gave the people of the mountain hope, because like everybody else, the people of Mount Kenya are in a state of hopelessness.
Okay.
There's no hope. Nobody knows what tomorrow will bring. The cost of living is up for everybody. Businesses are closing up, even small ones in Mount Kenya. But that is not enough to convince the people to abandon William Ruto. They are not as excited as they were last year. But if anybody said they have decamped from Ruto, they will be lying to them. So they are still with him.
So
somebody strong must come up to offer hope to the people of Mount Kenya, just like to the rest of the country.
So he successfully climbed the mountain and has turned it into his
If elections were held, they will still bag most of the votes from Mount Kenya.
Indeed. So what is it that makes you think that the people of Mount Kenya, in as much as they do feel the pinch of the kind of economic hostility that we are witnessing as a country right now, they cannot revolt, they cannot say anything, they prefer rather to be silent?
The Kenyan public, the political situation in this country is such that we are still basically blocked, and we think as those blocks in terms of tribe. So either we have our own, like we are Kalenjin and we are following Ruto, or we are Luo and we are following Raila, or we are Kikuyu and we are following Sol, or as a block like Kikuyus, we have been sort of convinced our interests lie with Ruto. So whichever way you look at it, it is still determined by tribal blocks. We are not yet moved as indeed we are about to be moved by decisions and our own interests as people to determine who we follow. So we will follow Raila because we are Luos or Luyas. We will follow Ruto because Kikuyus and Kalenjin are working together to support Ruto. But it will not take long if things go the way they are going for people to base their decisions on things other than tribe, especially their own interest. You go and cheer Raila or Ruto, you come back in the house, your children are sleeping without food. That, it will not take long. It has never happened in history. It always breaks. So it will break. Now once it breaks, it will not be very good for politicians in this country.
Okay.
Because the only organizing principle is tribe. So if you remove tribe from the equation, how will Ruto organize his politics?
Okay. Let's get there in. Would you say that would you say that this was a working tour, or was it just like any other political vendetta there?
Those are political things and they are cheap. We must tell the president that is cheap. He should stop. This country doesn't have, we are past that. The day Mo used to go to church and we were convinced he was a Christian with the Bible always, but the sort of atrocities that took place, moving from village to village, giving handouts, issuing roadside things, those days are behind us. Let's not go back there. No, that one I will tell the president without any fear that, Mr. President, we are past village politics. Play national politics. Work from Harambee House, work from State House, just make that occasional visit to Kakamega. But it cannot be your style. No. Because one, then you do not have sufficient time to address the things that matter for this country. And the president, more than anybody else, knows what matters to the people of this country. Employment for young people. Otherwise, this is a time bomb. Good markets for our farmers. Improved agriculture. He knows the things we need in this country. You cannot do them by moving from village to village, number one. Number two, every time the president moves to Kisii, to my native Vihiga, to Migori, your place, to Kapkangani, Nandi, where Kim comes from, every time that infrastructure, the presidential infrastructure, to move the president from Nairobi to Kisii, to Mount Kenya for the days he was there, that's huge spending. Those are millions of shillings. The president is not just a person who moves and sneaks. When you move the president, the entire government machinery, the president, the deputy president, ministers, everybody is there. Even a hotel you can't get. They are booked during March days, 30 days in advance, and 20 days after he has left. The briefing. They may have scaled down a bit, but I'm sure if the president is going to Kakamega, you can't get accommodation in any hotel. It will have been booked by state functionaries. So, as poor people, as a country where people are going to bed hungry, the president cannot afford to be that wasteful. No, I don't think.
Okay.
He should have a conscience. I mean, it is bad style, it's outdated, it is populist, and I've said the president doesn't need that because this man is loved by people. People are dying hungry and they are clapping for him. This is a man who is loved. Why is he bothered? I've said even 2027, I don't think he has a problem with it. But more important, this is a poor country. Why would the president be spending all these millions every week? Traveling across the country, moving all over the world. We can't. We must draw the line somewhere. And I keep saying, let's love this country. Even if you are a president, you need your granddaughter or your great-grandson to find a country called Kenya. And that grandson of yours, great-grandson of yours, may be called Samoe, will be proud that my grandfather contributed to making Kenya what it is today. You get what I'm saying? Let's not squander government resources. Because we are poor. There's no denying the fact that we are poor.
Okay.
Let me demonstrate this. I've never taken a pen or a calculator. But on top of my head, I can tell you what the president spent on Mount Kenya trip can put up a hospital.
Okay.
Yes.
He was there 5 days.
5 days of a president in an area. Both official, non-official spending from both his office, the deputy's office, the ministers, the government function. Because what the president knows, and if he doesn't know, he must know. Every time you are going to an area, all heads of department, all officials use that excuse, from the messenger to the top, to get impressed, money, because they are going for a presidential function. So when you put all those monies together, what the president uses in a month moving across the country, you can put up a hospital.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You can go to a place where I come from, which is in Rift Valley. You can go to a place like in Aldai and put up a hospital in Saraim for people of Western and Rift Valley to use.
Okay, that therein, but of course we've had that conversation, you've talked about it, and we even saw him have his cabinet meeting therein, all the way operating from Sagana State Lodge. But then, Prof, now let's look at it this way. Looking at the politics of Kenya and therein, you told me that it was not some sort of a working tour for you, more of a political vendetta. So my question is this: what could be the political mission of the president visiting central Kenya for 5 days?
Please. I was there when Kenyatta radio VOK, Sauti ya Kenya. The president has left Nairobi for a working tour of the coast region. Mzee anaenda kuimbia nyimbo tu akilala. That's a working. No, we can't go back there. So it's not a working tour.
So what was his mission?
It's politics. Because you need to pacify the area. There are people in Mount Kenya region who are questioning a few things. They could gang up and give him some problem there. Rigathi Gachagua doesn't have a free hold, doesn't have a free sail in Mount Kenya. There are other forces. Not necessarily in Azimio. There is Azimio, Mother Karua, Kioni, Mwangi wa area, whom you cannot dismiss. Peter Munya, those ones are there. But there are also other forces, other Kikuyus, Gema community leaders who may take advantage of what's going on. Because there have been people who have felt Azimio doesn't seem to be appreciating the Mount Kenya leadership within its ranks. Especially, when they formed that team and there was no Kikuyu there until Kioni was put in the technical team. There was that feeling, And then there are those who feel these talks are undermining Rigathi Gachagua. They may end up at the end of the day undercutting him. So people fear some smart chap from Mount Kenya can consolidate the Kikuyus together around him, around himself. Because in Azimio they are not quite welcome. In Kenya Kwanza, by agreeing to go for these talks, you are in a sense saying you want to compromise Rigathi Gachagua's position. So a smart Kikuyu can come up. That's some of the reasons why the president might wish to go there. Yeah.
So you're talking of some sort of, perhaps he sensed a little bit of political threat, and he went there to solidify and strengthen his political muscles and stamp his political authority. Now the question would be, do you think in your own assessment that he succeeded in doing that? Was it a failure or a success?
Well, you see, for me, I don't see how that trip was really necessary for Ruto. Like I've said, the Mount Kenya people, they will clap for Ruto because they still follow him, even if they are going back to bed hungry. So I don't think there's any danger of him losing the mountain seriously.
Did it have any political impact so far that you may say?
Not much, to scare away some people. Most politicians in this country are weaklings. If there was a Kikuyu who was trying to come up, he's now scared. He can go follow his tail. I don't want to mention names. Some of them are my friends.
Okay.
By the way, there's a very serious opening for a serious Kikuyu leader. If there was one serious Kikuyu leader outside Azimio, or even within Azimio, outside Kenya Kwanza, or even within Kenya Kwanza.
Ingiza ndani. Okay.
Outside Kenya Kwanza.
Bado inaonekana hapa.
Iko sawa hapo?
Okay, so
if there was a serious Mount Kenya leader, there is room for snatching this thing away from Ruto, and the little that Raila has, Azimio has. Somebody can consolidate the Kikuyu vote.
Okay.
It is ripe, but you need to be a Matiba, a Jamba.
Okay.
Kikuyus love leaders who have substance. So this is a wake-up call to any of those wannabes, politicians. If you are a man, let's see you out. Stand up. Stand up! If you are a Kikuyu leader. And grab this thing away from Ruto and from Raila.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that perhaps the Azimio side should be somehow worried about such kind of attempts or rather visits by the president, especially to vote-rich regions such as the central Kenya?
They should not be worried because if I look at the dynamics of this politics, I don't think Azimio has anything to worry about Mount Kenya. No.
Okay.
They have nothing. In fact, Azimio seemed to concentrate on Mount Kenya merely because Uhuru was there. Because Uhuru was part of the equation. But there is a place they could afford to ignore.
Okay.
Yeah. Raila has always won this election without this Mount Kenya support.
According to you.
No, but not according to me. Those are let anybody challenge me here. Let anybody come and challenge me. In 2007, he had all the provinces except for Mount Kenya. And he won. He beat Kibaki. Anybody come and argue with me here. Simuta kuje to argue na yeye. I was at Bomas. There was an IBC was clear about something about elections, and we are on some TV show. I told my colleagues here that please, unless you don't know English, Kibaki was defeated in 2007. We saw what happened in the High Court, in the Supreme Court in 2013. So Raila, this thing was his. We saw what happened in 2017. Let's not talk about 2022. It is too fresh.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tell us what you think about the recent 5-day trip or rather tour by the president to the central region. Did it have any impact according to you? But of course, you've listened to what Professor has to say here. Till next time when we'll have these conversations again on this very channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi. Stay tuned and thank you for watching.